student. So today I'm going to discuss about the bending portions of the tractions. Okay, so in my last class I discussed about the very basic idea on the very basic structure, or you say like that idea on the AC electric locomotives. Okay, it having different parts. Yesterday I told you that with the overhead conductor, then circuit breaker, pantograph, then how the transformer, sorry, it is a smoothing reactor, then transformer, three-core transformer, so there, three winding transformer. Then the voltage rating, current rating, everything I have discussed in very brief way in my last class. Okay, so that all those things, all those important components normally installed in the motor coach of the EMM. Okay, now today I'm going to discuss about the very general features. Okay, general features of the traction motor. Okay, so first we have to think about it, the two important features like that, mechanical features, another one is your electrical features. So two main features are important, so we have to focus on it and have to discuss about the mechanical strength, why we are choosing such kinds of motor, what are the benefits on it, what kinds of mechanical benefits on it, so that we need to discuss on. Okay, so first we need to see about it. So what are the important features on the mechanical point of view? So first, you know, that is the traction motor must be very robust. Robust means if there is any kinds of changes, okay, so the changes should not be observed. Okay, definitely robust means what happen if any kinds of disturbances happened. Okay, so suddenly the load has changed, okay, or you say like that suddenly the environment, okay, so in that case the main problem is that temperature, no, so that environmental temperature is changed, so the the response, there should not be any changes on the response of the motor. Okay, so that is important, that's why we have to think about it. So that's why you have to think about it. So what type of motor you have to you need to be chosen. Okay, what kinds of motor need to be chosen? So first it should be the robust. Robust means it should be not be adaptable. Okay, so all the time it will be fixed of it. Okay, so the capable to the withstand the continuous vibrations since the service conditions are extremely severe. Okay, so it should be withstand about the vibrations. Okay, and I'm also telling about the loads. Okay, and you know the jacket, normally motor having the metallic jackets. Okay, so it can also capable to prevent the external effects on it. Okay, so the weight of the traction motor should be minimum in order to increase the payload capacity of the vehicle. Okay, so it depends upon your payload capacity. The traction motor is located under the motor coach, therefore must be small in the overall dimension, especially in overall diameter. Okay, so you need to know about that. I have told about you the motor coach. Okay, so your motors are normally installed just below of your motor coach. Okay, and that overall dimension should be moderate in nature. What do you mean by the moderate in nature? So it should be accommodated. Okay, it should be accommodated with the given specifications, otherwise it is difficult to just for a moment. Okay, okay, so then we must think about it for the different material. Okay, so material of the motor. So what kinds of motor material? So you know that we are using that magnetic path of the motor. Okay, so specially designed motor, it's not like that directly available in the common market, so you have to design it for giving the means you know that you have to give in the order to the wheel, so get such kinds of motor. So it having special material, maybe you know that one traction motor are normally cast iron, they could not withstand the continuous vibration. Okay, magnetic material or traction motor cast iron, so it is not suitable. Okay, so that's why which type of yes, so cast steel or the fabricated steel, which gives the more mechanical strength, is made the place of the cast iron. So we are using what kinds of material? So cast steel and or the fabricated steel that we are normally used for it. So those part of the motor which are not highly stressed must be pressed or fabricated steel plates and light alloy. Okay, so why we are also focusing about the light alloy? Means it having withstand with the vibration, as well as the alloy material means it can also gives you the lighter in nature. Okay, so lighter in nature means the load. Okay, that additional load may be minimized. Okay, so we have to think about it, the optimizations of the motor loads. Okay, so optimization means you should not, you know that linear programming you know, +2 level. Okay, so here you can find out the cost. Okay, minimal cost or maximum cost. Okay, so minimal cost path you have to find out, or the you know that in equations was there in mathematical problem. Okay, and the maximizations of the cost. So definitely we have to cutting about the cost. Okay, so how we cutting about the cost? We can select some lightweighted alloy material that having the capability of the better withstanding of the continuous vibrations and the other metallic disturbance coming from or the environment. Okay, so that portions is important, and you have to think about the motor or motor structure or the type of the motor that can also work in the in against of the dirt, dust, water and mud way. Okay, if your track is totally full on that, definitely it is not acceptable. If it is still it is there basically in hilly area. Okay, sometimes what happen, the some of the sliding, okay, landsliding is there. So sometimes what happen, some of the materials like that type mud, dust, okay, or the stone, it is directly coming to the track. So at the situation it should all work properly. So you have to choose the motor such a manner so it should follow the mechanical features, required mechanical features for the traction. Now we have to think about the electrical features. So what are the most important, or you say like the most suitable electrical components or electrical features are needed for the traction motor? Okay, so first we need to know about you know that selection of the motor. Selection of the motor means the traction motor should have good starting torque. Okay, so that's why you can say like that high starting torque. It is your high starting torque. The traction motor must be few points, important point. It is first one is high starting torque, then simple speed control. Okay, so control should be very simple, then self relieving property. Okay, final one, then possible dynamics of the regenerative brakings, then capacity of withstanding the voltage fluctuations, and finally we say like that capability. Okay, capability of withstanding the temporary interruptions of the supply. Okay, that's why battery bank is required. Okay, so now we can point wise we can justify it. We can point wise we can discuss on it. So what are the important features? So first, the traction motor must be capable to developing the high starting torque. Okay, so high starting torque, to develop high starting torque is important, especially when the train is to be accelerated at the reasonably high rate, such as in case of the urban and the suburban service. So suburban urban service, you know that the intermediate distance between two stations are is not so big, means 5 kilometer to 8 kilometers. So starting, then starting of the motor, then closing of the motor, means that due to that option. Okay, starting, then braking or coasting. Okay, so that's why the motor should having very fast acceleration to reach the steady state, to reach the maximum speed, otherwise it will be difficult. So that's why we can say like that urban and suburban service. Okay, so for the urban and suburban service, that's high starting torques are not like only that urban suburban, mainline service also be required, But in case of mainline service, then that means the free running conditions are there. But in case of urban and suburban options, that free running conditions are not there. So that's why high starting torque as well as that withstanding that conditions are important. Then simple speed control. Okay, so if you use some complicated machine, so then it is difficult to speed control. Basically, design of the complicated speed control algorithm and also use those algorithm through the microcontroller or the microprocessor based system. So it is sometimes quite difficult. That's why we should focus about the basic DQ control or basic scalar and vector control. Okay, that also easily implemented through the microcontroller board. Okay, that's why it is called the that's why it is called the simple speed controlling method. So what is written over there? Amenable to simple speed control method of the electric train has to be start and stop very often. So quick start and fast stop. That process is important. Okay, that is written like that. Start and stop very often. Okay, so then relieving property means speed torque characteristics. Then selection of the motor should be based on the speed torque characteristics of the motor should be such that the speed may fall with the increase in the load. Okay, the motor having such speed torque characteristics are self protective against excessive overloading of the power output of a motor is proportional to the product of the torque and the speed. So it totally depends upon your power. Okay, so power also multiplications of the torque and the speed. So if any of the features has varied, so other options and other components also been changed. Okay, power is constant, then speed equal to torque into power. Okay, T into omega. So if the power, if you make it power constant, then if you increase the speed, the torque also been decrease inversely proportional like that way. Then possible dynamics and regenerative braking. So braking is an important issue. So mainline service we can also go for the regenerative braking. So the options of the regenerations should be available in the system. Means option of the regeneration means if you try to implement the regenerative braking, the system having such amounts of load. Okay, if the system don't have lot of load capacity, then suddenly if you do the regenerative braking, then your insulation, that means your insulation of the overall system, means overall transmission system will be damaged. Okay, so high energy, huge energy will be refilled or huge energy to the feedback to the system or the supply line. So if you have the such amount of load, means big traction load is already there, so they can take the additional load. If the load is not there, then that may have the direct effect on the system insulator. Like you know that mainline traction system, so a lot of side RCC poles are there with the proper insulation. Okay, so catenary and contactor. In the catenary, they are normally connected with the string type insulator with your side, means track side pole. Okay, so if huge voltage is coming to that catenary, then that may cause for the breakdown of the insulation. That catenary is connecting with your poles, side nearby poles. Okay, side of your railway track. Okay, so basically that pole potential is 0 and catenary having 25 kV. Okay, so huge voltage is there, maybe 50 kV suddenly is coming. Not 50 kV, 30 kV is coming. Okay, so that may cause for the damage of your insulator. If the insulator damaging there, so LG fault quickly you can see the LG fault. So system will be tripped. So regenerative braking capability should be required. And the dynamic braking. Dynamic braking means it totally depends upon your mechanical strength of the pole shoe or the brake shoe or the system dynamics. Okay, capability of the withstanding the voltage fluctuations. Okay, traction motor should be capable to withstanding the rapid fluctuations in supply voltage without under effects on its performance, since in the traction work rapid voltage fluctuations owing to heavy current inrush at the start in the common features. So initially you can see the inrush current. Okay, inrush current, definitely why the inrush current will be there? Basically voltage fluctuations. If any kinds of conditions is appear, so voltage fluctuations is there. So current. Okay, so maintaining the power fixed, so current, inrush currents can be observed. Okay, if the huge inrush current is there, so that may cause for what? That may cause for that may cause for unwanted harmonics to the system. Okay, and sometimes it may also trip some of the relays. Okay, so you know that in protections, okay, protection circuit also been important, not like only motor protection, transformer protection, motor protection, bus bar protection, generator protection. Then different relays are there for say all the individual electric equipments having some individual protection system. So bus bar protection, the same protection method for bus bar is not using for the protection of the generator. You know that negative sequence current. Okay, so that is promisable effect, that having the promisable effect on the in a generator. Okay, so the synchronous generator or the generator means generating station generator. So that's why the negative sequence protection is given to the generator, but it is not so much significant for the transformer. Okay, but generator, that such type of protection is there. Sometimes turbine protection also be there. So in case of turbine protection, you know that reverse power protections. Okay, so normally turbine takes the provide the prime mover. If any kind of failure is happened in the turbine, means somehow input of the turbine is not coming, the output of the turbine is mechanical energy. Input of the turbine is your vapor, means potential energy coming to the system. Okay, kinetic energy is coming from the vapor. Okay, so suddenly that vapor is not coming. So turbine behaves like a reverse. It may works like a reverse conditions. Okay, so it can works like a, the generator works, maybe works like a motor. Maybe happen sometimes. So that's why reverse power protection is required. So it should not be works as that. So different dedicated protections also be required for individual system. Okay, so next one is the voltage fluctuation. I am telling about you the rapid. If the voltage is suddenly fluctuate, lot of current draw by the motor, so that may damage of the motor. So voltage, due to voltage fluctuation, some of the protection should be required. Okay, then the temporary interruption of the supply. So that I am telling you that it's an from the traction substation, the additional energy or additional voltage is coming. Okay, so sorry, the from the traction substation, the power supply. Okay, the electric power supply is coming to the line. Okay, so suddenly there is some interruptions, suddenly some faults is there. Okay, your system, the power supply is cutting out. Okay, so load shedding is there in the power supply end. Then what happened? So motor, your machine, your traction means locomotive is just stop in between of the two stations for urban and suburban conditions especially. So in that case, what happen, you have to drive it at least your nearby station, maybe 2 to 3 kilometers. So that's why for the emergency power supply is required, that is coming from the battery bank. Okay, that in my last class I told you that smoothing reactor, charging stations. Okay, so from there that additional power is coming to the system. Okay, so what is written over the traction motor should be capable to withstanding the temporary interrupt of the supply without with undue inrush current, since it occurred instant crossing over the crossover and the section of the insulator. That telling insulation breakdown of the conductor of the motor. Okay, so motor having some oil impregnated paper conductors, oil impregnated paper insulator we are normally using for the conductor, motor conductor. Okay, so there should not be any breakdown to that level. Okay, so that you should keep in your mind. Now then, overload capacity. Overload capacity means suddenly load is increased. Same thing, load is increased means motor will draw a lot of current. Okay, lot of current means I square R loss, I square RT energy loss. Okay, I square RT may cause for heat. Okay, so that should not be damaged. The insulation should not be damaged by the produced heat. Okay, it should not be damaged. The traction motor should be capable of taking the excessive load as it is subjected to very arduous duty. Okay, so that you have to maintain. Okay, then parallel running. Parallel running means current, if more current is drawing, if the load is more. Okay, so current is more. So if more current is flowing through only one single motor, so then the problem is that motor may damage. So that's why what you need to do, you have to paralleling. Okay, you have to paralleling operations of the motor. So you can distribute that power, you can distribute that current in between two motor. Okay, so that's why parallel operations are mandatory. Okay, so that can also prevent the damaging of the motor conductor. So in traction work, usually more than one motor, okay, 2 or 4 motors per motor car. So normally I am telling you from the very initial classes, so only one motor coach having 6 motors, sometimes 4 motors. In normal EMU we are using 4 motors. Okay, you can get from the number of wheels. Okay, if you motor is means EMU is passing over in front of you, means you are standing in a station, railway station, and one EMU is passing from in front of your station. So you can see, so how much wheels are there in the motor coach. How do you understand the motor coach? Means the presence of the pantograph. Okay, if the pantograph is there, so it is the motor coach. Okay, just see the below of the motor coach. So if you see 4 pairs, okay, if you see 4 pairs of wheel, okay, that means one pair is responsible for one traction motor. So one traction motor can drive 1 pair of wheel. If it having 4 pair of wheel, so then you can say like that. So 4 traction motor or the 2 pair traction motors are required. Okay, so that's that pair. That's why it is coming 2 or 4 motors per motor car. That's why it is written 2 or 4 motor car required. The traction motor therefore should be such the speed, torque and the current or characteristics that when they are operated in parallel and the mechanically coupled, they share the load almost equally. So they should share the load equally. Okay, so individually they are not working. So you can say like that both are connected in series, sometimes both are connected in parallel. They can share the entire load by the combined action. Okay, no motor meets all the requirements mentioned above. Most suitable motor for the DC system are the series and the compound motor, whereas for the AC system the single phase series motor and the 3-phase induction motor are employed. Okay, now you have to think about it, the starting and the speed control of DC traction motor. Okay, starting and speed control. So first we should think about it, the rheostatic control. Okay, rheostatic control means you can understand that plus V means trolley wire. Okay, so from where you are collecting the electricity, that is your pantograph. Then different contacts are there, contactor, it is called contactor. Okay, contactor are there. Okay, so you know that directly is coming, you can see like that it is the DC positive, that's why you have considered. So directly it is coming, that different motor having that starting torque is very high, so it having all the time the series resistance. Okay, 4 series resistance are there, that is called rheostatic control, and that is field of the motor. Okay, and connected through the wheel, so it is 0 ground. So contactor are there 1, 2, 3, 4. So individually you can cutting the load, initially high starting current. Okay, so that's why all the current may be in series. Okay, so back EMF, instead of back EMF, if the back EMF is developed, then what can I do? Individually, one by one, you can on the contactor. So if one contactor is 1, then what happen? It can bypassing that part. If it is 1, if the switch is on, then current will flow the minimal resistance path instead of the resistance path. So current will flow this path. Okay, like that, directly this path. Then again it will come back to that portion. So contactor 1, if you turned on, so current can bypass that resistance. 2 turned on, so current can bypass 2 resistor. 3 turned on, current may bypass for the 3 resistor. 4 turned on, current may bypass for the 4 resistors. Now it is directly, it is in cutting the series armature resistance. Now we are cutting the series armature resistance for the first conditions. Okay, series armature resistance means your voltage, total voltage is appearing across your armature. Okay, so if 4 resistance are there, so voltage drop will be observed across the 4 resistance. So V minus that potential drop individually individual potential drop of the resistor that will be applied to the motor terminal for initial case. If all the contactor is on, so no voltage drop is there in between that resistance, so total voltage is appear across the motor, so motor can run in the base speed. Then what happened? Then for the speed control, for the field control, then simultaneously what happened, you need to change the flux of the motor. So one by one again you can turn on that contactor, turn off that contactor, so you know, like that flux line also will reduce. Okay, so flux line, that is in that case the different configuration will be there for reducing the flux line. Okay, so in case of rheostatic control, what happened, directly you can turn off that trolley wire. Okay, so that means if you just open that, first you just on that contactor, now you can off it, of the contactor. So you can see, you can observe that energy, the additional energy or the stored energy of the motor is dissipating through this rheostatic control path, through this resistance path. So that may cause for what? That may cause for energy loss. Okay, that may cause for dissipations of the stored energy in the motor. Okay, and you can also control the speed of the motor. Then your motor is gradually, if there is no supply, then motor gradually stop. Okay, after dissipating all the energy, that is your rheostatic control. So what we can understand from the rheostatic control, what are the most important points? So what is written, a series motor can be started by connecting an external resistance in the series, okay, with the main circuit of the motor. Okay, at the starting instant, since the back EMF, okay, since the back EMF developed by the motor is 0, therefore the resistance connected in the series of the motor is the maximum. Okay, initially the back EMF 0, that's why the resistance will be maximum, and this is of such of the value that the voltage drop across it with the full load rated current is equal to the voltage. Okay, I think you are able to understand. As the motor speed up, when the motor speed up, the back EMF developed. Okay, then you can reduce that in series resistance part. Okay, back EMF developed by the motor increase, therefore the external resistance is gradually reduced in order to maintain the current constant throughout the starting and accelerating the period. Okay, I think all of you getting the point. In this method, there is a considerable loss of the energy in the external circuit. Okay, the resistor employed are designed for the short time rating and not for the continuous rating, as they are required to carry the current only during the starting of the motor. The motor can therefore have only one speed characteristics. Okay, so they can take care, or they can, all the motor can participate. Okay, so you will get the common speed torque characteristics. Okay, so parallel operations means it may be shifted, the speed torque characteristics may be shifted in the domain, but end of the day you will get the resultant speed torque characteristics or speed current characteristics. Okay, so that's the way to controlling the motor in rheostatic braking. So now series parallel control. Okay, so what is the series parallel control, that I am telling you already. So if the voltage is more, okay, suddenly voltage is more, so it is not possible. In that case, it can be observed for only same voltages appear across the single motor, so it cannot be work. Basically, that may cause for burnout of the motor insulations. Okay, so that's why what you need to do, you can cascade two of the series motor, then you can apply the same voltage across that motor, two motors, so individual drop will be there and individual voltage. So V1 plus V2 equal to total V. Okay, that's the way to controlling the voltage, that is series control. Now parallel control, voltage is suddenly reduced, then you can see voltage is reduced means current also been increased, basically power is constant. All the time we should keep in focus on the conservation of energy. Okay, if the conservation of energy you have been maintained, so in that case what happened, your voltage level reduced means current will be increased. Okay, if the current is increased, sometimes series, both the motor connected in series is not capable enough to carry all those current. That's why they are making it parallel each other. Okay, if they are parallel each other, they can distribute the current. Okay, the main disadvantage of the wastage of electrical energy in the rheostatic control path is overcome the method when the two or more methods are there. Okay, In case of two motor, the motor are the first connected in series and each other the starting and the control resistance in a figure. So you can also use without rheostatic resistance, you can also do it for series parallel control. Okay, initially what happened? Both of the motor you want to initially there is no back EMF, so you want to turn on that both of the motor. Okay, both of the motor turn on means you can make the both of the motor in series. Okay, that series mean addition of the two resistance. Addition of the two resistance means what? It can addition of the two resistance means what? It can reduce the effective means the efficient potential drop is there, so that can overcome the zero, may overcome the zero back EMF voltage. That is maybe series configuration. Parallel configuration, when it will be turned on, if the back EMF is there, sufficient back EMF is there, so you can make them parallel. Okay, so that is series parallel configuration, but more or less that additional resistance should be there. Okay, basically it's a huge current. Okay, so that's why the additional resistance should be there. But how to minimize that additional resistance? That is your concept. That is your considerations. Okay, so that's why series configuration also been accepted some portions. Okay, so additional resistance means additional drop. Okay, if you are adding both of 2 or 3 motor in series, so it having field winding. Okay, so that can also sometimes sufficient enough to drive it. Okay, so now you can see that for the series combination, that is V by 2. Okay, you know that term, and I is same, I equal to total current I. You know that V is V by 2, V by 2. Both of the motor having same rating. Okay, both M1 and M2 having the same rating, so they have same voltage. Okay, so M1 and M2 both are having different same rating, so definitely for parallel connection V is applied, so it is I dash by 2, I dash by 2, I dash equal to I dash by 2 plus I dash by 2. Okay, in additional, resistance is gradually cut out by the controller as the motor attains the speed, and finally the control resistance is totally removed. Okay, then each motor has 1/2 of the line voltage across it, shown in the figure, that is given in the figure. This is the first running position. In this position, for the given the armature current, each motor will run at the half of its normal speed. So voltage directly proportional, Eg directly proportional to the speed. Okay, so if it is half of the voltage, so speed will be half, like that. In the next step, two motors are connected in parallel and in series with the variable resistance are shown in the figure. Okay, both of the figures are there, you can understand that options, but resistance are there all the time. The resistance are there for controlling the current. Okay, that is important. Without resistance, no connections are there. Okay, resistance is important. So here you know that different combinations. So different combinations of the series parallel and the resistance control of DC series motor. You see the combinations. The resistance is gradually cut out as the motor attains the speed, and finally when this resistance is totally removed from the circuit are given in the figure, illustrated in the figure. So it is your both of the motor having same rating, you can consider. Okay, so current is there, so it is divided I by 2, and total current is 9. So how it will be start for first case? Okay, so you just check it. So how is it working? So first you can, what you have observed, the first case you can see there is all the total resistance. You know that total resistance is series with your motor. So one resistance for motor 1, another resistance is for motor 2. Now we just shifted that slider from one resistance to there. So you shifted the slider from here to here. Then what happened? You can bypass it. You can bypassing that. You may bypass. Okay, initially the huge currents should be flow, so that's why both of the motor are in series. Okay, and series with 2 resistance additional. Now you can bypass this part. Okay, bypass the resistance and connected series with this resistance, and 2 fields are there. So motor 2 and motor 1 both are connected series. Then motor again, it is started again. Okay, then gradually the back EMF is developed, so then you can bypass the entire resistance path. So two resistance are bypassing. Okay, total voltage is appeared across the both of the motor. Okay, that is series configuration. Up to this position, that is called series configuration. Now you want to change the current. Okay, so now current should be distributed. Okay, more current is there may damage the motor, so that's why directly you are making the changeover switch is there, you are making it that positions, and that one is connected here, so it is your parallel. Okay, so now it is in parallel combinations. Parallel combinations means the currents are there, so here full current was there. Now again the parallel configuration, it is your initial conditions. Okay, now the full current is not coming. Okay, due to the full coming is current, some of the potential drop you can observe, so the full voltage is not appear across two parallel motor. Okay, some voltage drop is there due to the voltage current passing through this to conductor. Now just change the slide, the terminal from here to here, so that you can see you can bypass one resistance, but one resistance still in your system. Okay, then you can do one thing. The next stage what happened, it is your series configuration. Okay, now you can go for the parallel configuration. So parallel configuration, what you need to do, that you just bypassing both of the resistance for minimizing the additional voltage drop across two of the motor. So you know that if you connect here, so total voltage appear both of the motor M1 and M2. Okay, and you are able to bypassing all those resistance. Okay, after that you should go for that field control. Okay, for the field control, what you need to do, you can connect here. It is showing that series parallel, so additional resistance are connecting here across the field, motor field, but this resistance is not external resistance. This resistance will be taken from this bank of resistance. Okay, so logic only been changed, so you are utilizing these two resistance as the combinations. Okay, as the combinations of the paralleling of your field. Then what happened, you can control the you can vary the resistance value. So motor field current also been changed. If the motor field current has changed, okay, so motor speed will be changed. So that is called the series and parallel combinations of the, this is series motor, both of the series motor. That's the way train can, or the locomotive can run. I hope you all of you are able to understand. If you have any confusion, you can ask me. So we can pursue the next slide. Do you have any kinds of query on it? Till now, do you have any kinds of query?
No, sir.
Okay, so you have anybody do not have any kinds of query on it. Okay, so we can so the next one. So in case of field control, okay, so some question has arisen based on the basically for series motor how the field control will be done. But in case of traction, we have to go for the field control to get the speed of the below means above base speed. Okay, so different type of field control methods are there. So you can use the divider. Okay, divider you can use for the current divider for diversions, for the diversions of the current. Okay, and you can also use the tap changer. But what will be the problem? Both of the cases you know that the flashing will be there. Okay, inherently in case of DC machines, inherently the flashing is there. Due to the flashing, the efficiency is less, means additional energy is lost. Okay, so that's kind of problem is observed. Okay, so that's why you should not use that. Means that's why the next generation, means current generation motors are totally based on your induction motor, due to that lot of advantages over the conventional series motor drives. Okay, series motor traction drives. Okay, so in case of field control, what are the methods are there? You can see from the figure, as the speed of the motor is inversely proportional to the flux. Okay, or you say like that constant voltage. Okay, therefore the speed can be varied by the varying of the flux, but is vary either the connecting variable resistance known as the diverter in the parallel with the field winding, and two, the second condition is by cutting other sum, by cutting out the sum of the field turns. This is the way you can control. Okay, but in both the case flux will be reduced. Therefore, this method is known as field weakening method. Okay, so why it is called field weakening method? Field current is reduced when flux reduced, so it is called field weakening method. Okay, so both of the cases you see the tap series field and it's a series field. Okay, these methods and speed can be raised up to 15 to 30%. Okay, 15 to 30% of your base speed. and design the difficulties assigned with the arising with the traction motor. This method is no use for starting purpose. By using the field weakening of the necessary changing of the gear ratio can be eliminated. Okay, gear ratio can be eliminated means that in pinion bear joint, pinion bear. Okay, so that pinion gear joining was there, so that motor shaft, pinion, then pinion to it is your gear shaft, means your wheel shaft. Okay, so total energy is transforming from this way. Okay, so that's why that gearing, if you go for beyond the motor speed, so some gear ratio you have to check it, or sometimes you have to remove it. Basically you cannot predict that how much speed you are obtained. Okay, basically it depends upon your current. So if you design the gear, okay, so if you able to design the gear, so you have to specify the speed. Okay, sometimes what happen, you are not able to specify the speed, so specify the speed. So gear ratio sometimes that you have designed, it is not working properly. That can be observed. Okay. Now right now what we are doing for the chopper control, for the DC EMU and the AC EMU. So chopper control means chopper control is used normally for the DC EMU, okay, and for the AC EMU you can use the inverter or the cycloconverter drives. Okay, so how they are working, so it is a return part. So wheel means it is a return part. Okay, axle, brass. Okay, so that is a return part. Okay, this is a return part, and it's your pantograph is connected over there, and positive or the DC overhead line. Okay, normally you can see it is for the tram. DC overhead line means in metro also it is used, but not all those metro. Basically, most of the metros are using, you know that Delhi metro is using 25 kV. Sorry, 25,000 volt, but in Calcutta metro they are using 750 volt, but it's an AC, it's a DC. Calcutta metro working on the DC, is working in the DC. Delhi metro is working in the AC. Okay, so in the DC motor is there, so for the variable the DC of the traction motor, so which drives you need to use? So you have to use the chopper drive. Chopper drive means it is variable DC output. Okay, so fixed DC to variable DC. That's why it is called the chopper. Okay, so you can vary the duty cycle of that control converter, so you can vary the output voltage also. Okay, so here you know that is your inverter. Okay, two inverters are there for the inverter, one inverter for your induction motor, for the AC EMU. Okay, so circuit breaker is there, then AC current is coming directly come to the inverter, then not directly coming, basically input of the inverter, is your DC. So again you have to convert it. Okay, so after conversion you can only add. Okay, conversion means AC to DC conversions. Then battery banks are there, then smoothing reactor are there. After smoothing reactor you will get the DC value. So that DC value is fed to the inverter, and that inverter can convert the DC to three-phase AC. So that three-phase AC is connected to the induction motor through the filter. Basically you know the output of the inverter in your power electronics class. Okay, so normally different types of inverter is there: sine PWM inverter, normal PWM inverter. In normal PWM inverter you will get like the square type of pulse. The square type of pulse contain lot of harmonics. It should not contain that output should contain the fundamental components. Okay, fundamental components. So you have to convert it. If you do the Fourier analysis of that square wave, you will get the fundamental one. So how practically you can convert it? So you have to use some filter. Okay, that one option. Another option is there, you can use some multi-level inverter. Multi-level inverter means in normal inverter output is square wave, but multi-level inverter they are in multi-leveling square wave. Okay, so they are more nearer to the sinusoidal output. Okay, so in that case the filter you need to design that will be quite less. But in especially for the normal inverter, Okay, so the output is square. So that's why the filter design is important. But in our right now the technology is enhanced for the domestic purpose. We are also using the more or less sine wave inverter. Okay, not all the pulse wave inverter. So initial days when the inverter is in the picture, okay, means in the domestic application. So that time you can see when the power is off. So you listen the humming sound of the choke. Okay, right now the electronic ballast are used for that choke, but fluorescent lamp. But now we are using LED. Okay, before that LED, the fluorescent lamp was there. Okay, CFL or fluorescent lamp. The ballast circuit is already used for the CFL, and the fluorescent lamp, that electronic choke. Initially, before electronic choke, we are having some electrical choke. Means inductors were there for getting the very large voltage. Okay, for generating the very large voltage potential across your air beam or across your vacuum beam. Okay, so in that case what happened, in that case you can listen some humming sound. Okay, that vibration due to that frequency mismatching, some square, that form factor was different. Okay, so that's why you have to use some rectifier bank for getting the proper DC value. Okay, and you can feed it to the inverter, and after the inverter you can see three phase output is there, the transformer is there, and the transformer you can use that utility, means AC output. From the AC output you can use the chain internal utility, means internal electricity. Okay, internal electricity, then driving the fan. Okay, then illuminations portions. Okay, then other driving the relay, a lot of things. Then AC/DC rectifier also be required. Okay, so it is your battery, then battery will be charged from this AC/DC bidirectional rectifier. That means battery is charged, that battery also can feed to the inverter. Okay, that's the basic concept. So from the figure what we can observe, that a DC EMU, figure of a DC EMU, DC supply from the overhead conductor is collected by the pantograph and given in the conductor, or given to the conductor. The inverter is a device which the converter DC to AC. One inverter gives three-phase AC output to three-phase traction motor. Okay, I think you are able to understand what they are telling. Okay, other inverter gives the three-phase output to the three-phase transformer. Okay, the three-phase supply can be based on the air conditioning, fan, and the compressor of the locomotive. Okay, the transformer output converts the DC by the means of rectifier bank. This DC is used for the battery charging control. So we are also using battery charger. Figure shows the general block diagram of electronic power and the auxiliary service of the DC EMU. Okay, so DC EMU you can understand. I hope you can understand that what is the basic operations. Simple thing, there is nothing complicated one, so you are able to understand. Okay, now another configuration is there. Okay, so from this figure you can understand that it is your AC EMU. So AC EMU means in DC EMU overhead connections is DC. Okay, that's why directly you can feed it in the inverter. So it is your DC. Means it is used in metro rail. Okay, means Calcutta Metro. And AC EMU means it is used in Delhi Metro. So here you know that AC overhead lines are there. Then pantograph is directly connected. So the same concept maybe work with the tram, but tram is not directly working there. So drum type rheostat is there in tram. So voltage is given, DC voltage is given to the tram. So you can cut that resistance and you can vary the speed of the motor of the tram, and that may be responsible for the movement of the tram. Okay. Right now trams are obsoleted, but still we need to know the basic operations. Okay, so pantographs is there for the AC overhead line. Then circuit breaker is breaking the line from any kind of difficult condition. Then transformer is there. So transformer means it is rectifying. Okay, so transformer is rectifying from AC to DC, and you will get the fixed DC. The DC is fed to the inverter output is the three-phase output, so that may be directly connected to the induction motor, and that input of the inverter is DC. So with the smoothing reactor, so it will get the fixed DC, and another one inverter is there. Then rest of the portion is similar to your previous operation. So inverter means AC to DC rectifier, AC to DC rectifier, then battery bank. You know that transformer having three winding. Okay, It's a 3-winding transformer. Okay, so battery is there, battery bank, then DC output will get. Here you will get the AC output, and now you are getting the DC output. So what are the important points? So that figure shows the arrangement of AC EMU single phase AC supply is collected from overhead conductor. So overhead conductor are in AC. Okay, overhead conductor by means of pantograph, and it is given to the step down transformer. So step down transformer is there. Okay, basically your input is 25 kV and you are using in the maybe 400 volt, maybe 230 volts. So definitely you need to step it down, otherwise you are not able to use it. Okay, so converted DC by the rectifier given the inverter. Okay, so figure shows the general block diagram of the electronic power and auxiliary service of the EMU. The functions are given component same as the DC EMU. That function I have already discussed. Okay, so now metro rail, you know that one most important features. Okay, that Indian Railway. So in metro rail, what type of concept we are using? Okay, so in metro rail, in metro system, so what we are using, that it is underground. Okay, railway system. Normally metro rails are underground, but right now it is not mandated. Okay, it also over sky operations also be there. In runs of the electric power, the metro system the best suited for density populated cities where the local transport is crucial. Okay, the signaling activity also very important. That portion I have not discussed in railway system. So normally who will control the signal? So if one train is moving from the track, okay, train is moving from the track, so if sidewise signal, the sidewise signal of the track, automatically it will be green to red. Okay, then the next instruction, how much is not coming from the control panel or control unit, so it will not be green, it will be still red. Okay, so if train is moving or passing through that signal board, only its color has changed from green to red. Okay, automatic, but rest of the thing is not automatic. Okay, so here the more arcs, you know that they are tightly coordinated. The heavily header distance is also the crucial for the more one train works on the single track. Okay, the distance between the travel metro is comparatively less compared to the normal train. So metro distance is still less. Okay, like bus. Okay, bus stoppage. Okay, it means for the transport within the metropolitan cities. Okay, the distance between stop is also less. Okay, the technology used in the comparatively superior compared to the normal train. The metro system is mainly used for the people for the transport and do not use for the good carrier. Okay, so transportation purpose, for the human transportation purpose. Okay, not for the good carrier. Okay, so the metro, some charts are given for the different year. That Kolkata metro is very old. Okay, so number of station is written 24 right now. That has increased. Okay, so it is some old data. Then Kolkata, then you know that voltage level 750 volt DC third rail. Third rail means if you go to the Calcutta, so if you are able to avail that metro rail in Calcutta, you can see that you are nearer. If you see two tracks are there. Okay, so two tracks for the railway. Okay, and another third tracks also be there. That is guarded with some red color. Okay, red color slab. Okay, so below that one, so another track is there. It's look like a rail line. Okay, it's look like a railway track. That is called the third line. Okay, that is called the third rail. So in metro, what happens? Some hook type systems are there. In the motor coach, you can see some hook. Okay, or some plate. Some plate always connected. Okay, so movable plate is connected from motor coach to the third rail. Okay, so it is like a hand. Okay, that plates is behaved like a hand, fixed plate. So all the time it is touching with the third rail, and it will collect the current. Okay, it will collect the current from the third rail. So metro is moving. So the coaches, motor coaches are collecting the current from the third rail all the time. Okay, so we will get that one, and finally, that current is capable enough to drive the motor. So in Delhi Metro, it is established in 2002. That you know that it is 25 kV AC. Okay, AC OEG. Okay, means OEG means that connections are in upper head. Okay, overhead connection, overhead electrifications. Okay, so that's why it is in OEG. Then another metro for the Bengaluru. Okay, so it is again DC third rail, near similar to your Calcutta metro. Then Gurgaon. Okay, so Bengaluru, Gurgaon. Okay, so same thing. Then again the Mumbai metro, it's very recent, so it is third AC. Sorry, 25 kV. Then Jaipur means Rajasthan, Chennai, Lucknow. All are the used as a 25 kV AC. Okay, so that, and all are in overhead connections. Okay, overhead electrifications. Okay, but underground, you know that one, the underground metro normally using 750 volt. So why underground metros are using 750 volt? That another motivations, and unnecessary. Why we are using that one? Basically, underground metro means what? That line you are installed, the third line is installed just upper of your earth. Okay, so what is your earth potential? Earth potential is 0. If you are giving it 25 kV AC line, then what will be the problem? So you have to install big values of insulators. Okay, in between the contact wire and the earth. Basically, the distance is less, 25 kV and less. If it is an overhead, you know that there is a big distance between. If you are considering like a plate, okay, overhead connections, it is 25 kV, it's a plate and ground, okay, another plate, okay, in between two plates the distance is more. But in case of underground metro, okay, if it is travel in the underground means underground metro, then what happened? The distance is very less. If you see it, you can see maximum 10 inch gap, maximum 10 to 8 to 10 inch gap between that 750 line, 750 volt DC line and your ground. So if you use 25 kV line, so that insulation will be more. That's why it is not feasible for 25 kV AC line. That's why they make it in 750 volt. But in case of 25 kV AC OEG, again that line having again that metro having the traction motor, it's work with the 750 volt DC, but that AC to DC conversion is done in the inside of the motor coach. Okay, so additional converters are required, but end of the day that is a DC traction motor. Okay, 750 volt. Okay, I hope all of you are able to understand my idea on it. So what are the efficiency levels are there? Some of the traction systems, it is mentioned that steam locomotive, that efficiency level is 5 to 7%, gas turbine electric locomotive level is 10%, diesel electric locomotive 25 to 30%, electric locomotive with the thermal plant it is 34 to 36%, electric locomotive hydrogen that is 40 to 42%. Okay. I hope all of you getting that idea. So we can take 5 minutes break on it. So after that again we can start another session. Okay, so then we can take your attendance for the next section. So 5 minute gap we can